Hello and welcome to Paint Pāʻina. I'm Alicia Malia and I'm outside in my Pupukea studio here, and we are going to do a very short tutorial on painting water and sky. Now, your sky can be any color you would like. And your water can be any color you would like. But I'm going to do a blue water, and I pulled out some pinks and a little bit of yellow and orange. Can you see that for my sky? Now when you get your supplies ready, if you find yourself a reusable container with a lid to put your paints in, you can save these paints later by just closing this up tight and putting it in a plastic bag, and these paints will last for you for quite a while. So think about that when you're getting your supplies ready. I have my rag for my cloth. I have some paint brushes, and it's always good to have a big house painting type brush for that water and sky. It works very well. And then I have, of course, my cup of water. So get your supplies. Okay, so here we go. First of all, I'm going to dedicate this video, my very first video, to my granddaughter Xavier, who's quarantining out there in Lebanon, Oregon. Xavier, I hope you're going to do this with me. This isn't live, but I'm going to send this to her right away. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to grab my big brush, because I like to use my big brush to do the background. It just gets the job done really great and fast. So take that big brush and dip it into a couple of blues. It's always great to use two colors instead of one. Oops, drop that. Okay, so now I'm gonna give myself a horizon line here, and I don't want to go straight across the middle. I want to go a little bit lower or a little bit higher, just to give it a little bit of off-centered look. So I'm going to go a little bit lower, so I find my middle and I go a little bit lower, just drag that brush straight across there. And as you can see, I've already got some nice colors on there because I have two colors on my brush. Now if I want to measure that, I can use my brush to just measure that line and see how I did, and that's not bad, so I'm going to go with that. Now that I have my line there, I'm just going to take my brush on its big side and I'm going to brush that color in. So I brushed all that color in. I'm going to go grab some more color, and I'm also going to go into some white, and I have another color blue. So I have three color blues on my palette, and I just want to put those all over. So once I have quite a bit of paint on there, I want to blend that in. So I'm going to turn my canvas on its side, because there might be a little bit of dripping, and I have a dog down there that's going to get painted on, but that's okay. So take that big brush, dip into your water, and then tap it off right on your rag. You don't want too much water dripping. And then just take your brush and brush that paint into your canvas. And you might find that you need a little more water, or you might find that you need a little more paint. So we want to get that paint all over there. We don't want to overbrush. Overbrushing will turn that all into one color, and that's not what we want. We want some different colors. Okay, I'm going to get some more paint. Now, if you're limited on your paints and you only have one color of blue, you can add a little bit of white and a little bit of black to give you three colors of blue. 3 colors are really the best. It gives you a lot of depth in your painting. I'm also getting the edges. Really like to have my edges done. It's a nice extension to your painting, your canvas. It kind of makes it look like your picture goes on and on and on. Oh, I wish I could go to the ocean right now, but I'm in quarantine. Okay, so there I have my blue in there. I got it all to my edges. I got my canvas covered. See, I've got some varying colors of blue. I have some brush marks that I don't like so much showing. Maybe you like your brush marks showing. If you do, you leave it. If you don't, you can always do a second layer and that will take care of those brush marks, but you need to let that dry. That is how acrylic paints work. So we're gonna leave that. I'm gonna put my brush into water and rinse it off really well, because the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into my sky. Okay, now in case you dragged one of your old paintings out of the closet, or you thought you wanted to work on it a little more, I have one of my old paintings that I feel like I could add some more to it. So painting over your paint is just so satisfying because the next layer goes on so much better. So I'm just gonna take my big brush and I'm gonna go into a couple of colors of paint, and I'm just gonna brush over my ocean. If I brush some things out, I don't care, except my glitter. I don't want to take my glitter out of this one. I don't really care because I can just put that paint back in there, and the more layers of paint that you put in, the better your painting comes. It looks, it just keeps building up and building up. A lot of times we stop too soon. A lot of times we go too far. But more often than not, we stop too soon. And so now that I've had some time to look at this painting, I decided that I really do want to put more paint on it. So I'm just going to paint that over. I'm going to probably have to let that dry before I bring more paint in. We'll see how far I can get. But already I like that better, that other layer, next layer of paint. So I just painted right over that palm tree leaf. I'm not worried about that. I can bring that in again. But I'm not painting over the trunk of my tree because that part I did like. Okay, so now I'm going to move to a smaller brush. I'm just going to get a little bit smaller brush and I'm going to put some more colors in there. I've got some light blue and some white right on my brush. I'm just going to brush that in, and my painting's pretty wet, so I'm probably going to have to let it dry again. A lot of drying and painting. If you have a blow dryer at home and you want to use it to speed up the process, you can. And one thing you're going to notice is that your paint always dries a little bit darker. So you always have to keep lightening up those light areas. And if I really want to bring that yellow back in over my painting, I'm going to have to wait till it dries, and I'm going to have to bring that yellow in with a little bit of white added to it so it really pops out. So let me see if I can get a few more darks and lights in there, because that's really what makes your painting stand out, is when you have darks next to lights. And I like to turn my painting any which way it's easiest for me to paint. Okay, I'm gonna have to let that dry because I could see my colors just absorbing and it's not sitting on top the way I want it to. So I'm gonna have to get myself to stop here. Stop, Alicia, stop. I can't stop. I'm gonna stop. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. Okay, so now this is pretty dry and I can come over with another layer. Actually, I would love to come over with another layer and build up those colors. But we're just gonna make this a simple video right now and go right into our sky. And then I didn't talk about materials for canvases. If you don't have any canvases around, you can use anything. You can use a board. If you have some white paint, you can paint it white. You can use paper. You can get your old canvases out of the closet and redo them. Something that you wanted to work on more, just keep working on it. If you guys do absolutely need supplies and you can't find any anywhere, get a hold of us. We can get you together a little supply kit. Here we are, paintpāʻina.com. We have Facebook and Instagram, so just get a hold of us and we will work out getting you supplies that you need. Okay, so now I got my big brush again, rinsed out nice and clean, dried out nice and good so I'm not dripping water everywhere. And now I've got some nice orange, pink, and yellow. And I'm actually gonna go into my yellow first because I like to put my light colors in there first, and I'm gonna put some light areas in there in my sky. So I'm gonna paint those in. Then I'm not gonna wash my brush. I'm gonna go right into my orange, and I'm gonna put some orange in between. Now I've got orange and yellow on my brush, and that's doing some cool things. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of pink too. Pink. And I'm going to throw some pink in there. Now these colors all will mix up nicely, so I'm not worried about washing my brush out too much. Some colors like blue and orange will make a grayish color, so you don't want to mix those up too much. You'll get mud. Okay, so I laid in those colors. Now I'm gonna, with a clean and wet brush, I'm just gonna start to blend those in. So once again, I don't want to overblend because I don't want to turn this all into one color. So if I start picking up too much color on my brush, I want to rinse out again, clean my brush off, and just get all that color to soak into the canvas. If you got to add some more color in a few places, go ahead and do that. And once again, turn your canvas whatever way is easiest for you to put those lines in there. And I'm kind of losing my yellow a little bit, so I'm gonna go into, I'm gonna grab some white and some yellow and try to build those yellow areas back up again. And if I totally lose them, I can bring them back when my painting dries. Gonna hit the edges. This first layer we do real fast and almost sloppy because it's a freer way of painting. Save those painstaking details for last. Or not at all. Okay, so that's pretty good for a first layer there. And I probably am going to want to do that again to the ocean and the sky when this is dry. But there I have it. I have my sky and my ocean, which is the basis for a lot of these paintings that we do. That's the beginning, and now you can think about what you want to put on this painting. Maybe you want to put a tree or a flower. Maybe you want to turn it into some waves and some birds in the sky, whatever you want to do. That's for you to think about right now. Now, if you notice, my sky is dripping a little bit here, which makes a really cool effect. I like it, but I don't want it to drip too much, so I am going to turn it on its side, and then the drips will go this way and not down into my ocean. So thank you for joining me in my very first video, paintpāʻina.com. All right, so now we're all done. We're gonna put our paints away, and I have this little container. If you have a spray bottle, you could spray a little bit of water on top of it. I'm gonna close this tight. I have a Ziploc bag this fits into, make it very tight, and I can use these paints again for my next video. So save your paints, and if you don't have very many paints, you can pick up anything at the hardware store. Any acrylic-based paint will work. You got some house paints at home, use those. Whatever you want. If you absolutely cannot find anything and don't want to leave your house, get a hold of us. We'll help you get supplies. PaintPāʻina.com. If anybody would like to get a hold of us for a virtual party, we would be glad to try to do that for you. So supply packages, if you guys need some supplies. If there's a certain video you'd like to see of one of our paintings, let us know. I'd love to do that for you too. Also, please submit any of your paintings and your little videos. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and please comment. Thank you so much for joining us today.